sunflower seeds. A lot of sunflower seeds raised in North Dakota. My gosh, this ground is real soft.
Yeah.
What do you do to get that quite so worked up like that?
Well, since we grow organically, every year we're increasing the fertility of the land through
that
composting.
is so soft. More than usual. Now, I saw a lot of sunflower seeds when I was in North Dakota. They raised them. Now, what do you do? Do you sell? What do you sell here?
We just leave them for the birds. Something, it was pretty, my kids like to see them, and it was pretty during the when they were in flower, and now the birds come and eat them.
Funny you say that, because you know some people tell me that I'm for the birds, and I've even heard that expression around. Right. Now, what you won't be planting anything more this year, correct? Here.
Yeah, this will all go. This was in early lettuce in June, and then it had a cover crop of oats, and now it's getting ready to go into fall lettuce again. All of what hasn't been planted here is going into fall lettuce.
What do you do when the frost comes?
We cover everything with plastic.
And
we have
you able to
fine.
Protect it?
Yeah, it's a spun bonded polypropylene, and so what happens is that the air goes through, the water goes through, and yet it protects it at night for like 3 to 5 degrees.
So you leave it on there all day?
We leave it on, and we harvest until the end of October, early November.
All right. Then my first question would be, how do you spread that plastic on here? Starting to roll on one side and keep on rolling?
You start a roll. The rolls are about 42 foot wide.
Yeah.
And it starts, and then you just unfold it. And so then you bury the edges, and it covers it.
Can you use that plastic for more than one season?
Yeah.
You can roll it up and keep it?
Yeah, we can roll it up.
So when will you put that, after the first frost? Before the first frost?
Before the first frost.
Next couple of days?
No, it won't. We don't usually get a major frost here until mid-October, because we're near the lake.
All right.
But we will put it on probably the end of September. I'm watching the temperatures for the lettuces that are small, and what that does is during the day it increases the temperature, and so the lettuces grow faster.
So you do have some expenses, not all profit.
I have lots of expenses.
Well, did you and your wife do this, Dave?
No, she helps with the book some, but during the season, I have about 2 to 3 people working for me.
Is that your truck over there that you bring to?
Yeah, I deliver two or three times a week in Burlington.
With that truck,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you get out of the Burlington area, or do you have enough of an area right there?
No, right in this point, I do sell to a farm stand in Middlebury.
Mm-hmm.
Right at this point of what we are actually I do sell. The Perry Restaurant Group is my major customer. With the sirloin saloons.
You can get rid of all you grow, no problem.
We always sell what we produce.
Is there anybody else like you doing this in the area?
There's a friend. One of my best friends in Thetford, Vermont, is growing greenhouse tomatoes and lettuce organically like this.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Is there anything you want to tell me that I wasn't smart enough to ask?
Just that I think that the people need to pay a higher price for their food in terms of the support of agriculture both in New York State and Vermont, and really keeping open space, keeping the rural area productive.
All right, now, you say that, but it's a matter of they're charging more. I'm not going to go into a store and say, you're not charging enough, I want to pay you more to keep the farmer in business. How are you going to do that? How would you suggest it be done?
What happens is it's an education process through, at least for me, it's been in educating the consumer on what is actually really behind the costs of the food that they're buying. What happens indirectly in California that the consumer's paying a lot more for the food than they actually are, because they're paying the support for the water, the irrigation, they're paying the low prices for fuel to get the food here. And so all those costs mount up. And so basically what's beginning to happen is more people are realizing that the locally produced food, in the long run, that money is circulating within the local economy, and it also is keeping the land open so that people are more likely to come.
You want to tell anybody out there they should pay more for the milk too? Farmers are having troubles right now, lots of trouble.
The dairy farmers are having a lot more troubles.
We've got to pay them more money, right?
Yeah, It's happened some in Vermont. In Vermont and New York State are working on some increased prices for the milk.
You're getting less now than they were 2 years ago. And
It's
the
a
prices
real
have gone up. It certainly is.
it's a problem.
All right. Well, Dave, thank you very much for talking with us. It's a pleasure.
Yep.
And good luck with the rest of your winter lettuce. Is there any difference in the taste between summer and spring and winter lettuce?
The spring and the fall lettuce tastes better than the summer lettuce.
It does.
The summer lettuce is a lot of times under heat stress, and it turns bitter quicker, whereas the fall lettuce and the spring lettuce taste better.
Very good. We're at Shelburne Farms. We're down here. What do you call your business here? What's our business?
It's just under my name, David Miskell.
Oh, and if you don't put something behind it, we won't even know what you do. But David's got this, the vegetables in the area. When you go into a restaurant, ask them if they got Dave's lettuce. If they haven't, tell them they better get some.
That's
Thanks
right.
lots, Dave.
Yep, thank you.
We're in the courtyard of the barn. I guess we call it the barn, the Shelburne Farm Barn. And it's all enclosed, and if you don't know what 2 acres is, you just look around here as we move around this area, and this is 2 acres within the wall. And there's the gate we just came through, and I guess the west is over to my right, so I guess I'm looking south. And you'll notice that all the new copper being put on all of the roof. That's all copper that's been added, except for the turret. You'll notice the turret off here to my left. That's what copper looks like once it starts to age and gets subjected to the weather. It turns that greenish color. And you can see over here they're putting on the entranceway over here. It doesn't look like a barn, but trust me, we're in a barnyard. And there's another turret that has been, I guess, worked on, or they've scraped the paint off. And here is where you can see that it's being done. They're getting to one of the last areas. Do you know whether this will be done also in copper? It is, huh?
That was just done last year.
Is that?
See how quickly it changes?
Oh, that is copper. Oh, I didn't even notice it. Yes. Okay.
It takes 12 years, they tell me, to go back.
Okay, now here's where they're doing, and they're crimping their own. These are not sheets that are already crimped. They're crimping and making this. Here's what it looks like right here. As we go along, I think you can still hear me here. Sam's got Sam Castine on the camera, Bob Venne here. This looks like about a 2 feet, a 28-inch roll of copper. How much? 1/32 thick, real thick. And this is then pulled out of the roll and goes up here where they do the cutting and so forth. And there is where they're putting on the individual things, and then they seam one on top of the other. It's done. We were just talking earlier about who does this in our area. I mean, most people put on this preformed tin at home. You can get it in different colors. Well, Paul Duffy in Rouse's Point, if you ever see Paul on the roof, he's probably doing something like this, generally repairing. But there's one job that I don't want to do, is be up in the air like that. And that's the old piece they're taking off, I believe. All brand new. Imagine the number of square feet, huh? And the cost. Now, you're talking about one of the most expensive roofing. Is this more expensive than slate even? Slate's a very expensive roofing today. Slate is very, very expensive to do. But anyway, then you see the windows on the barn. And that's about all I know about where we are, folks. And I don't know why we have the stairway going up like this in a porch and at a barn, but we're going to find out about it. We're here with, again, Dorothy Hawley is going to tell us a little bit about it. And then we're still here with Kate Shears and Wallace Shears, and we're going to tell us a little bit about the farm.
Well, this was originally the heart of the farm. This was the first building completed here in 1887, and the office where the stairway is at the top of the stairway. The offices for Shelburne Farms were there, and they're still located in that area, and it was also the offices for the Rutland Railroad. And now we lease out areas of this building to small businesses. On the second floor we have Beacons and Parsons, a small custom furniture company, and on the lower level we have the O'Bread Company that makes a natural sourdough bread. So when the children come here, they learn about the wheat berry and their education program. They get to see bread made and then get to eat the finished product, which is something they really enjoy.
So it's safe to say you will not be using it as a barn. There'll be no more. It won't be a working barn.
No, but it
like
will still be the heart, though.
It will be the heart of your farm, right?
Right, of our organization, because with this restoration that's going on, we're trying to raise $2.75 million, because what the main area of the barn that they're finishing off in this corner here, where you see the new windows going in, this will be our new education center. By 1992, we'll be able to serve 6,000 school children and 600 school teachers, so we'll be able to expand all our education programs.
So what's been going on at the coach barn will be coming up
Yes,
to this facility.
you're right.
Now, I was reading last night where the barn was moved a half a mile north.
Yes, to this
in
location.
1888.
Yeah.
They built the barn and they moved it.
Yeah, they moved the base of it. They moved the base and moved it over to this area. Now, what's the back part of the area where they're doing the new roofing there, that will become our new cheese making by 1993. This will be our cheese making will be done.
Yeah,
We'll move that from the dairy barn so we'll have better visibility for the public to see our cheese making. Then the stone area, which in the Webb's day was where they had 40 teams of mules, that area will be turned into an exhibit area, hands-on activities and demonstrations will go on in that area of the building by 1993. Now across the courtyard where you see those animal pens, that's something that new that we just had this summer. From Memorial Day until Labor Day, we have pens with farm animals so that children can take hay rides, come up here to the farm area, and then learn more about farm animals.
Will any part of this building here be for living quarters for any of the farm manager or anything like that? Nothing like that. All right. Now you mentioned 40 teams of mules.
Yes.
And obviously they weren't for parades. That's what they used in the field, right?
Well, in the fields and moving all the trees that you saw on the property to the different locations to create the landscape.
Can we see anything inside? Now this is a 5-story barn right here.
Right.
5-story. It's around 2 acres. I took a few notes off of people.
2-acre courtyard,
2 acre.
farm barn.
The main barn, 475 feet long, 60 feet wide.
Well, if you look up at the clock and you look at your watch, you can see that we're on time because we depend a great deal on volunteers. And George, one of our volunteers, comes once a week, climbs 5 stories, and winds the clock for us.
All right. The back of this is 475 feet. The 2 wings are 275 each, and they're 28 feet wide. 30 feet high. The big one is 100 feet high.
I could use you as a guide.
Well, I read a little bit last night that although I wouldn't want to ask anybody, I'm not sure they would know all of it. You might, but I also had the designer of the farm was Frederick Law Olmsted.
No, he did the landscape.
The landscaping.
The buildings were designed by Robert Henderson Robertson.
This barn here?
Yes, all the buildings on the property were designed by him. So let's go over here.
Was that a porch or something before? Or like? No,
they had different shaped windows and different openings just to break up the massiveness of the front of the barn.
Now you've got all new shingles on the outside here, huh? Now, have you any idea in cost what you're talking for restoration of this?
$2.75 million.
I thought you said $2.75 million.
Yes.
That's what you did say. Yes. All right.
There were rooms in this barn also that were thin lines. To keep the rodents from getting into the grain, he would store his grain there, which is not something you know.
Okay. We're going to talk about that weather vane. Go ahead, Dorothy.
You can see that the weather vane looks as if it could be a snake or a serpent. And they say that Lila Vanderbilt Webb chose that weather vane. Hear the clock.
Here we go. Guess what time it is?
She chose that weather vane to remind people of Champ, the Lake Champlain monster.
Oh, yeah, all right. Now, you'll see that you don't do things at the Shelburne farm by Mr. Webb in order to save money. Look at that building as the roof over there, and all of a sudden you got that extra section here straight over in the middle, and then the extra windows and all of that's all for design.
Yeah.
And there's another one here. It's just absolutely beautiful. And how long has the restoration been going on?
They've been working on it. This is probably the second year that they've been doing, because I did this section last year, the roof of it.
And you didn't mention what will happen to this section later, the big barn?
This part will be an area where we'll have hands-on activities, demonstrations, and exhibits.
My. You got big plans, big plans.
But this won't be completed until 1993.
Oh, we're talking a long time off here, yes.
So we're doing different areas at different times. The first part is the school section that we want completed.
Right.
There's a lot to be done.
I think we're on a frozen picture here, and we're looking inside. To give you an idea, beams going across. Well, they aren't completely beams. I guess they may have even been metal, and they've been boxed in. It looks like there. Oh, that's been boxed in over there. And the big 6x6s here that are holding up the center, and I don't know what this was.
This is where they have the mules down the center.
Oh, all right. And
Far end is an area where they stored carrots, which seem to be a favorite food of the mules.
now I'm going to give you something else I read last night, all right? The barn was built in 1888, the north and the south wings that go out in 1890, and the appraised value of the barn in 1890, $55,300. And imagine today, it's going to cost more than that to put the roof on. Quite a bit more than that when you start talking copper.
Yes.
The cheese is stored down in here.
Well, in two places, down in the lower area where the office is, and then back there is the refrigerator. We have walk-in coolers.
You notice that they've broken up the windows, as she said. You have the round, or what do you call this, here, and then the four windows in the middle are rounded, and the others are square. Look at the thickness of this barn. You're talking nearly 2 feet thick from the inside to the outside. Absolutely.
Now the animals, the rabbits and things that we saw at the coach barn, those were the animals that were up here in the summertime.
Oh,
and
okay.
they've just been moved down there.
Okay, now I'm looking over here. If this is water or a heating system.
No, that was a steam-driven drive shaft system that moved feed and grain.
It was a drive shaft. You can see the pulley right there.
There's gigantic pulleys in the building here.
I'm looking just down here to checking just the individual rooms back here, and there's another whole section back in there. You can see with the camera, and this is where used to drive there was a pulley, I suppose, came down to something down here, and that whole thing turned up there, and. So I can assume that the barn, as such, is not electrified here. There are no lights in here.
They did. They had lights.
They did have lights? Oh, they did. Okay.
You had all the modern conveniences.
I don't see any anything left of lights. That would be what kind of fixtures they had or anything. Look at the door you got here. Look at this the door that fits the opening. And it's probably a full 2.25 inches thick, and it's all wainscoting is the word I was looking before. So you got all this vertical wainscoting, and again, your doors in the back are the curved, and here's a that's a pipe that helps hold things together. There's an old light right here. Here's a light that they had, gas light. Okay, these are all right. It's gas lights. I didn't hear you say that. I'm sorry. And that's what the gas fixtures are out here that was doing this. When we were doing the Victoria House in Plattsburgh, you remember, on the third floor on Court Street, we saw some gas lights still in the house at that point. And this looks like this is all metal right here that's holding up this archway. That's a 4 feet high and about 8 feet wide. That's all steel, big I-beam, 4 feet high. And I guess in the back of here we can see a brick wall, and there's another. They're building something in the middle, or unless that was there before, some kind of. And here's the old brick wall for the building. No wood. Maybe they took off the wood on this back wall. Here's some of the big water pipes that you'll notice that were throughout the area here. A marvelous a piece of architecture here in 1888, remember. It's 103 years old. And this is my first opportunity to come in here. I did come in the courtyard 3 years ago. There was nobody here, and we did not attempt to come in.
This is where they stored all the carrots, which were a favorite food for the mules.
Okay. So they raised the carrots here too, obviously.
Oh, yes,
They had the carrots, and that's where they... Now, as long as you don't... As long as you can bury the carrots, I guess, in sand, and as long as you don't ever clean them, they will not start to decay. When you wash off the outside, they start decaying immediately. Now, these are all motors, and I assume that... I wish I knew what I was talking about, but they're probably three-phase. You know what three-phase means, Wallace? It's another operation where it's three-phase instead of two-phase, and the Ridgeview farm is all three-phase, and they had to run wire all the way from Route 11, the 2 or 3 miles out to Ridgeview farm to do that. And these are shingles. Nope, they're cardboard boxes for your cheese. Cheese boxes. What a great barn. The floor, I don't know if you picked this up here, but it's all, you'll notice it's all got the grooves in it so that it isn't quite so slippery for the mules that were in here. And there was a slight curve. I don't know if that's where they fed them here or what. This area. Trying to figure why this is here. Unless the water ran off there and down.
We have one of our guys as a volunteer task. He's making drawings of every room in the barn, and that will be part of the exhibit so that we'll know how each area was used in the Webb's day.
Did you have any? You have many pictures of the old farm back in the old days?
We have
Yes.
wonderful archives, extensive archives,
Mhm.
and our archivist is Julie Bresser-Cox, and that really helps a lot.
Now there's another big pulley you can see that would be turned with a belt. And maybe you turn that, what you're going to use down below. Once you start turning one, then you can turn other things off in it. And then over here you can see the architecture in this construction right here. You've got anywhere from 15 to 18 inches of brick, and then the stone facing outside anywhere from 8 inches to a foot, and then cement around. You're talking stone masons there, folks. 100 years ago, stone masons. It's kept very, very well. The only thing that went was the wood. And I guess the wood was more or less neglected a little bit during the years. Would you say that?
And weathered,
Yep.
with the Vermont winters. We can walk up to the...
You'll notice the detail that where after you reach the second floor, there's that slight curvature in those shingles. Just kind of breaks up that full unit across. Now, did they kept hay on the second floor before?
Yes.
That was hayloft. I had read something about their hayloft and how much hay that they had in the hayloft.
Coming down from various floors, I think that's what I remember from the first tours that I had.
And so, of course, the barn's built into the side of the hill the way a good farm barn building should be built.
It is. I didn't know that.
So deliveries could be made to the second floor. You could drive right up to the second floor. And we can walk around the building and go up to the back.
Okay, I don't think we're on right now. We're looking at the pens on this, the
Animal
south
area.
animal area. And this, why are these pens here?
Oh, we have farm animals here for children to see from Memorial Day until Labor Day. We have hay rides that they can take and then come up here and really get acquainted with the farm animals. And it's staffed, and they can answer questions about the different type of animals, whether they be goats or rabbits or chickens, whatever it might be.
Now there apparently is a chute for grain which must have been kept above.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chute coming out of the ceiling right there. And you also notice there's a track here that obviously that whole superstructure that on the far end with the wheels and with the big unit must have come down here to whatever it did. I don't know, unless they would use this to work on machinery and could lift things out, but I don't know if they had that much machinery then.
Well, we've really tried to preserve the old building and the equipment, but use it in an up-to-date way. And in this area is where we have some of our programs for the children so that we can teach them many things about farm activities.
You know, I find it strange, if you pardon me, that's not the right word. I'm unfamiliar where you would teach so much about agriculture in an agriculture state where they must know about agriculture before they come here a little bit.
Well, I mean, they often come and they say, where does your milk come from? And they say
They
a
don't
bottle.
know.
They don't realize it going back to the cow.
Okay.
But where does your bread come from? That they have to learn about the wheat berry and get to see bread made, that type of thing.
Now, you see those 8, 10 little holes over there in the firewall? That is not where the chickens go to sleep. That's their laying box. So they get in there and they lay an egg. There's one looking in now, see if anybody else has laid an egg in her box. So you go in there, and I assume you can open those from the outside. Right, okay, so you have some eggs there. Anybody home? Here is what a nesting, or not a nesting, but a laying area looks like. And it's not like the one we used to have at home. You'll see that there's a little bit of straw inside. And then they can take the eggs right out here and keep it clean. It's usually quite clean anyway. Now it's done. And they've got 10 boxes to lay, and you use your eggs right here at your inn, right?
Or we sell them at the visitor center.
You do sell them there also. And a little bit of old machinery that was used here years ago. There's some other chicken. Here is a small plow here, and there's another plow here with a disc in front that cut the ground before you tipped it. A little cultivator. This was, when you got tired doing that, you came and you sat on one of these little rockers, and this is what you used to sharpen your knives and things. Water went in this box to keep this wet, and as someone would turn it while you sharpened. That's a butter churn. And this is obviously what's been used possibly as some kind of a drill. As this turned, this spins around and does something. I'm not sure just what it does. I don't think it's a drill. And you can also put a belt here to run something else. And you have an awful lot of mechanical advantage. It really can spin it around. An old piece, I've never seen one like that. If you've got these at home and you thought these were for cutting grass, you're wrong. They're shears for wool. That's a wool pair of shears, and so many people think that's for grass. And I've seen people using them cutting grass. And what else? Now here is a very interesting picture, Dorothy. They can do some teaching here. I guess that's what an ear of corn looks like, with your various kernels. There's 2 chickens in there that are trying to talk to me, the hens, and I really don't know what they're saying. We're at Shelburne Farms, and we're in the original old barn itself, and right here you can see, as the sign says, milk is utterly terrific. And are we still on? We're still on. We're going to go up and around, and she's going to show us. Oh, there's a couple donkeys. And while we were talking inside, I think we were off the camera, Dorothy was telling us about the barn and what a real barn should be. And you want to tell me that again, Dorothy? What should happen to a barn? You should have a hill in the back?
Yeah, that it should be built into the side of the hill so that deliveries could be made to the second floor. So when we head around back, you'll see that we're on the second level.
Right, and then you don't have to go up an incline to get into your barn. You build up to that second level. Now, what is this used for? Is this for a parade, or just to move animals from one place to the other? Yeah, this is something that they use to. It's an animal transporter. They just walk their animals into the back, and they've had chickens in here during the summer, but that moves your animals around from one spot, from here, I guess maybe down, and without having to walk them all the way down to the coach barn. That must be some of the original stone that they used to my, look at this. Look at this. Look at this area here. Gorgeous here. Well, Sam, here's a good picture for you. Look at this. Huh? This gives you several ideas here. It shows you some of the copper roofing that has aged some time, as Dorothy said, 12 years before it gets to where it looks like maybe this is some of the older one here. Will that be replaced?
Yes, and then the center section is a year old. So
All right.
see how quickly it darkens.
Okay, this is the whole back. Remember, this is second floor now, folks. This is not the other barn was down one level because this is the way the hill is. That's probably why it was put here. In addition to being a picturesque place with the woods in the background, and what, no matter where you put that barn, it would be picturesque. Absolutely gorgeous. So there'll be no farm or separate cheese making here.
Right.
That'll be the closest to a farm operation.
Right. Well, our office will still be here. Our education center will be moved here, and we'll have our cheese making, and then we'll have the area that will be open to the public, and then the animal area.
You don't make butter?
No, we don't.
Okay. Now, something happened to that roof right over there. And I can't imagine what might have bumped up against that roof with the problem. Then you'll notice there's another entrance over here to this second floor that goes over with a drawbridge type thing.
One of the first things that they did with the restoration several years ago was to fix the foundation of the building.
Yes, right. That's what you should start with.
Yes.
Obviously, they did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that people are most impressed with are clocks and thermometers.
Oh.
And more people have told me that I ought to say something on television to the new Albany Savings Bank, who have removed the clock and the temperature gauge at the shopping center. And they just miss it like everything, and it's surprising. Now, I was told they removed it because it costs $34,000 a year to operate it, which to me doesn't sound that it could possibly. But if you want to do something, Albany Savings Bank, think about putting back your thermometer up there, or get a small one and hang that up. That was an unsolicited commercial for a thermometer in the Champlain Shopping Center. And we're at the, again, we're at the Shelburne Farms. So you're watching Hometown Cable. What's going on here on this Sunday night? We hope you're enjoying this this tour, this terrific tour. I don't know how it's coming across on picture, but I've really enjoyed it. And we hope you get a chance to come over here. Remember, it's open until mid-October. You got another 2 or 3 weeks to get over here. And if not, it's all of 1992,
right.
Starting with, don't forget Mother's Day, where you can make
Yes,
the
house
tour. There's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, the day before and Mother's Day itself. Call ahead for tickets, reservations, and if you want to do something, Mom, just have Dad and the kids and come on over to see the Shelburne House.
Right. And any of your teachers in the area, if they want information about our education program, if they just write to us here at Shelburne Farms, and we'll be glad to send them that information about our courses.
Okay, we just about done, I guess, when we leave the farm here, and we're going to just get our thoughts together a little bit, which is something I don't very often do, but we'll get our thoughts together and see what we haven't said and give you a chance to maybe make a little closing here, Dorothy. And we were also indebted to Kate and Wallace Zweers from Champlain, who more or less arranged this for us after Sam came last Sunday on a tour himself and thought that would be something that we would like to have here on Hometown Cable. It's our first venture out of the into the state of Vermont. I guess we did do something into Canada, but we have not been into the Vermont. Our first, and it probably won't be our last, and we hope you're enjoying northern Vermont. Yeah. We're on the second floor. We've come up to the second floor. We're in what would be a haymow as we know it, or a hayloft. And you can see that we're on the second floor, and this goes all the way up to what they call the fifth floor. And the hay would come in. The big doors would open over here. You can see that they would open. There's a door to open there, the big wide one. There's a round window, narrow windows. And then the hay would come along, and there's an opening right over the top here. This is an opening where the hay could be brought over in this area to my left, right where the camera is. Big, wide area. Or they can be brought up, and here there's a roof on this section. On the next, 100, 150 feet, there's a second roof, and hay was stored there, and you had room here to store some of your equipment, I would assume. But we don't know that for sure. And there's ventilation coming through here. You can see that so that the hay could dry once it was in here. And if you think this is big, look right off here to, as we're going, I guess that's going to have to be west. Down, this is over the section where they were putting the roof on when we showed you the copper going on. And you see there's a door opens up to the front just for air and for whatever. And the back doors are ground level. And you can store it here. They're storing lumber, and you can store anything you want. They may not have stored hay in this one. It could be just other storage. Remember, there's no auxiliary buildings that we have seen where you'd put, if you pardon the expression, your trash or your extra things. There just isn't any. And I think you could store things over in the other section we'll show you. But up here, with all kinds of hay forks and so forth, you could bring the hay up, and then there was a track up above that would run it down to the other end of the barn. Yep, right here, there's some more here that goes up. And if you'll look way at the top, it looks like a walkway. Is that a walkway? Can you tell, Sam, that way at the very top there's about 6 boards wide? That could be a walkway to repair up there, because it'd be the only way you could repair the area where the track would be. Another dome. Yes, now you see, this door here, although it opens, look at those, and you know, there's probably very few nails in this wood, probably pegs. I guess there are nails. Yes? Probably to throw your bales in and bring it right straight down into your barn. I think they put the hay bale or whatever they had for feed in there and came down. And if anybody were under it, it would be very bad, because that's a long fall down there as far as the hay falling on your head. Yeah, these big doors off to our right on this side do not go out other than to open air. This is the front of the barn where it looked like a porch, and these are big doors strictly for air. The actual entrance is in the back, and you'll notice there's a small door built into the big doors so you can come in without opening the big doors. This is a hay elevator that would bring the hay from here up onto that other deck or out onto and it comes up on these pallets that are in here, these laths, and this was run by a motor that would bring the hay up to a high, and in this it would give you a chance to raise it to a higher level. See, this would go up and it would rise. Now here's an old wagon. That's not a Conestoga wagon, but it's an old wagon here on the farm that probably was used many, many years ago, where your driver is really sitting up in the air. And this is the part here that I have a feeling that this was used for storage of farm equipment. This is all, and then they stored on top of here there was hay, but here, because of its nature, there's some more old farm equipment around here we'll look at, and this is some new farm equipment right there. Here's another chute here. I don't know what this is for, what you used it for. I don't think you threw hay down through here, but you could have. That looks like a manure or a corn wagon. It's an old 1940 or 41 Super Pontiac or a Chevy. Got to look at the hubcaps, I guess. The coupe. And here's another wagon. And there's some of that brand new copper. It's a Buick, all right? And it just goes on and on, folks. There's just... Okay, here's some of the tin that came off the roof. Copper, rather, I beg your pardon. And this is where you crimp some of it up in here in this machine. And that was removed because there were slight holes in it, we were told. Okay, here. Before we go in there, look at this. Here is a belt that could drive these wheels that would drive the big wheel and went down and drove the wheel in the basement. So you had something up here driving the big one in the basement, and here's a big barrel. What do you call this? Just that's I don't know if it's hogshead means certain size, but look at the size of this. Yes, here's some old drags here. The real old flip hay rake. Don't see those much anymore. And you stand on there, and you had a foot pedal. And when you got to where you wanted to drop your row, you'd rake along, and when you get to where you wanted, you'd hit the lever, and the rake would come up and go back down and start again, and you'd do that 8 or 10 times across the field. And there was a foot pedal that made you tripped it. This here is a one bottom plow. That looks big enough for a two, but it's only a Tractor drawn. Okay, that's not that old on this one. There's another big disc here. Don't know what it's for. And there's a conveyor. Amazing, beautiful windows. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. And in case you thought the other end had something that this end didn't have, forget it. This is the end that we're coming to. That is the lower part that does not have the big superstructure that goes another 100 to 150 feet down with a smaller second story. And that also has an entrance right over there, and it has an opening in the front like a balcony. Would you like to have had the wood contract for this, Wallace? Huh? And look at the old doors here. You've got watch that hole right there. You got all kinds of doors, and this is a whole section here of door frames that come out of probably the house. All right, and then here is apparently it was a wagon. This is the Shelburne Farms, an old wagon, a box that was on a wagon. And you stood on the side here, I guess, as you were being transported around. It had like a little running board there. The back end opened. I guess they slid up. This whole thing would slide up, and it had an opening on the bottom, probably for feet or something that could get a little bit of feed out. Can you see that down there, Sam? There's got like a little slide that opened up to let the feed out, I guess, if you had corn or whatever else you were. It's an old, well-built, and it says Shelburne Farms on both sides. And it's got an opening like that on this side, and it's got one right here, a little trap door. Right behind here, there's a trap door down there where you can let something out. And I guess in the back, you probably could let some more out. And you had ties. If you're going to tie animals in here or what, you got something across you. This is a full inch thick. Amazing piece of equipment all around here. And that was to throw down your amazing Dorothy. And another chute, I guess, to show something down.
Well, we feel fortunate that we've
be able to preserve this. Oh, this has got so much history.
Yeah, just watch your step.
Yes, we're going downstairs. How do you spell Brovert?
Well, B-O-I-S, that's wood.
Yes?
V-E-R-T, like Vermont, that's green.
Okay, so it means greenwood?
Yeah.
That's what it means?
Translation. Two French
I didn't
words.
know that. All right. Well, now, it says Shelburne Farms on your... And Kate told us that you've been here a long, long time.
51 years.
Is this lady going to stop or just toot?
When I look at her, I'll know. No, she's just a tooting.
She's a tutor.
working.
All right.
She's working.
You don't
on
have to
it.
stop here. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. You've been here how many years?
51 years.
So I can't ask you where you've worked besides here. This is all your working life right here.
No, I worked for the Tidewater Oil before I came here.
Mm-hmm.
I was 27 when I came here.
51 years.
So I'm no spring chicken. I'm 80 years old.
Oh, come on.
I'm 80 years old this summer.
Does he look like an 80-year-old man right here, huh? Is it because of...
I haven't got my birth certificate.
Well, we'll believe you. Now, you came, though, that would be after...
1940.
That was just after Mrs. Webb died. She died in 36, huh?
I came May 9th, 1940 at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Now, who were you working for then?
I was working, Derek Webb, after his grandmother died, his father inherited the place. And he wanted his son, Derek, to run it because he had injured an eye. He was going to be a lawyer, like his father.
Mm-hmm.
But he had injured an eye playing golf, and he was in the hospital a long time. Tried to save the eye, but eventually he lost it. So he had only one eye. So they figured, well, it's going to be kind of hard to become a lawyer. So he sent him to Cornell for a year to get the lowdown on agriculture. And he came here and ran the place, but he was single. And he was looking for a cook. He was having a hard time finding a cook because no woman wanted to come live where he lived.
He lived in a big house?
No, he lived in where the Sadlers lived, that yellow house there.
All right.
At the point there, Orchard.
Oh, that's on the right before you get there?
Yeah, you turn right.
It's privately owned now, right, out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he had a butler from New York come with his wife. They slept there one night. You know, those New York people. Next day they took the train right back to New York.
Had enough, huh?
So my father-in-law was a teamster here. And he told me about it. And so we went there one night, dark, April. Went in there and talked with him, and God, he hired me just like that.
Well, now, let me
Because
just...
he wanted my wife for the cook. See?
Okay, let me interrupt you just a little bit there. You said your father was a teamster. You don't mean he belonged to the union. He drove teams and horses. All right, okay.
Horses.
Now, what was Derek's father's name?
His name was Vanderbilt.
His first name?
Yep.
Vanderbilt.
They all call him Van Webb.
And he was a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
He was... Okay, so he was a grandson of old Mr. Webb.
He was the son of the doctor.
He was the son of the doctor. Okay.
Second generation.
Oh, he was the second.
See, I didn't know that. I knew about the first, but I worked for the second, third, and fourth generation.
Okay, now who was Marshall's father?
Derek Webb.
Oh, that's his father has been here since you've been here.
Oh, yeah. Now, they were all born after I got
He's
here.
gone now. Derek has died, has he?
When he retired, you know, sort of here and let the boys run it,
Mm-hmm.
he went to Florida. He dropped dead on the golf course.
Well, all right. I don't know how much people want to hear about all of this or not, but it gives us basically, all right. Now, what have you done here over these 51 years?
You were recording this when I was talking?
Oh, yeah. Should I not keep that in? Let me leave that off. Maybe we better take that last line off. About the golf course. What have you done over the 51 years?
Well,
While your wife was cook, what did you do?
Well, when I first came here, he said, well, in order to have a woman cook, I have to hire the man too, but I don't have any work for you. I said to myself, don't worry, you found more damn work I could shake a stick at. Just let this guy go.
All right. He's all right. He's going by. All these people going by here.
They work at the big mansion.
Okay.
So I pumped water here for 50 years.
What do you mean you pumped water?
From the lake to supply this whole estate.
You
We
have
had our own water system here.
And so you were in charge of that down there?
Yeah.
How long have you been working at the gate like this?
Oh, I'm retired, and I help them out a little bit here. I work 2 to 6.
Webbs have been good to you over the years.
Very good to me. I've been good to them.
Good. All right.
I work here. I pumped water 7 days a week all those years I've been here, except when I was on vacation. Nobody ever relieved me at the pump house. My sons did in the summertime, because I taught my sons how to pump. And
Where is the pump house in relation to the big house?
It's right below the big house.
Right below the big house.
But now they're on town water. They won't let us pump anymore.
Well, there goes your job.
So that didn't make me mad.
All right.
I said to Alec Webb, I said, just think, I'll have a complete Sunday off.
Yes. Well, listen, thank you very much for talking to us, Mr. Greenwood, Boisvert, and Boisvert, yes. And we'll talk with you again sometime, and thank you very much. You've been talking with Bob Venne on Hometown Cable.
What? Oh, Hometown Cable?
Hometown Cable in Champlain, New York. if you've been with us throughout the day, we've had nearly 3 hours, or about 3 hours total here at Shelburne Farms, and we've had a great day, and we'd like to thank you, Kate, and you, Wallace, for getting an arrangement with us,
It's our
with,
pleasure.
so that the people, that we could come over here and getting the permission, and then for going around with us. We've had a great tour. We've been in places that other people out there won't be able to go to when they come, but
Yes.
they've seen it on TV. And again, I want to thank you and Wallace for the volunteering you do here. It makes it possible
It's our
for other
pleasure,
people
really.
to come. I'm sure you like it. Anything you want to say, Wallace? I haven't given you a chance to say much today.
No, I think it's all been covered quite well.
All right. All right, so you've been watching Hometown Cable. Remember, it's new hours this fall are 4:30, 8, midnight, and 9 o'clock the following morning right now. And you're a 3-hour show now. And if you watch all 3 hours, you got a good, sturdy constitution. But tune in whatever you would like of all the programs. And thank you for watching here on Sunday night. What's going on here with Bob Venne. And Sam Castine has had the camera today. And I want to thank him for all his efforts for this great tour of Shelburne Farms. I'm standing in front of the visitor center and the farm store at Shelburne Farms, just outside of Shelburne, Vermont. We've been here for a little over 3 hours making a tape on Shelburne Farm. We hope you'll tune in this coming Sunday night and watch most of it. And if we can't get it all on this Sunday night, at the end of the program, we'll tell you when it's going to be on again. Whether it'll be on Sunday and Monday or 2 Sundays in a row, we don't know yet. But tune in this coming Sunday night and at least get the first portion of Shelburne Farms, Shelburne House, the Shelburne Farm. Buildings here and operations over 100 years old.
This thing here.
Good evening and welcome to What's Going On Here. I'm Bob Venne as usual on Sunday night. Our main topic tonight is going to be on various businesses in northern part of New York here in northern Clinton County, in the towns of Shazy, Champlain, and Moores, and what happens when the farmers don't get as much money and don't operate as well as they have in the years past. But before we get into that, we have a short segment we have because this gentleman right here, as you all know, Norm Bono, from St. Mary's back. I guess I've known Norm for at least 25 years when he was teaching over at St. Mary's, right?
Yeah.
And a great person with the young people in our area. And Norm has been a teacher at NCCS for some years, and I've heard some rumors about some things that he has been working on. And I was watching the school board meeting the other night on Channel 21. Calvin's on the camera here and getting all of these things. And I heard something about, Norm, you mentioned to the board that you had some ideas about a fund that you want to start and raise a lot of money for the benefit of our students in NCCS, particularly at the high school to start with.
That's right.
Am I right?
That's right, Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, I got started, I think, last spring when the state cut our budget by a lot and we started losing programs. We lost our pool, we lost driver's ed, and we lost quite a few courses. Along with that, we lost 3 of our finest teachers.
Who, want to mention their names?
Yes,
if you think?
Ricky Hunter in business, John Turco with a pool and in phys ed, and Lee Kingsbury, one of our better teachers for driver's ed. So as things went on, the morale got very, very poor, and everybody started blaming everybody else for what was happening. And it's continued through the summer. So in our meetings with the school union, teachers union, I got involved. I was tired of seeing all the things happening and nothing really getting done. So the first thing I knew, I was elected the president of the teachers union. So this summer, working with Peter Stone, I spent a lot of time trying to get some of these programs reinstated and to get some of our teachers back.
And this was after we had the vote and it was going to be austerity?
After, during, with the
Okay.
proposal coming back up. So there was a lot of ups and downs, there was a lot of changes, there was a lot of things I had to wait on to see how it would come up at the next budget vote and the proposition coming up. So finally, when I finished and I got a proposal together, which would have, I thought, restored a lot of programs and a lot of faith in the district, I went back to the Teachers Association, and for many reasons, it didn't quite pass. So I was very disappointed, very discouraged. I resigned from as president of the union because I felt that I still had to do something. So after a while, I came up with the idea that I couldn't save everything, but if we got the whole community, not just the Teachers Association, but the whole community together, that maybe we could restore some of the programs that we need to have and get some of the confidence and the faith in our community and our school again.
All right, now we stop right there for a second, and as I say, you people know Norm Bonneau, but maybe you'd like to know a little bit more about him. And Norm, you were here for 25 years in our area. Where'd you come from? And tell us a little bit about your background before that.
Okay, I came from Vermont, from Troy, Vermont, just a little town. I went to school at Sacred Heart in Newport, which is run by the same sisters we had here at St. Mary's. So after spending 4 years at St. Michael's in my senior year, one of the sisters that I had in Newport knew that were losing Al Rose. You know, Al went to Plattsburgh, so they needed a phys ed person and a math person. And those were my two areas. She knew me from Sacred Heart, so she came after me at St. Mike's and says, come on to Champlain. So I got a map and found out where Champlain was, made my way over here, and I taught my first 2 years at St. Mary's before they closed and merged with Champlain Central at that time. I've been at NCCS now for 23 years, so 25 years total in the district.
You were a farm boy?
Yes.
Right? Your dad was a farmer, or still is a farmer?
Still is a farmer. My brother still runs a farm. My father's in real estate a lot, but still lives on the farm. He's retired now.
So you know what work is from an early age?
Yes, I was very close to staying on the farm.
NARS has been a big asset in our community for our young people particularly. And when Norm says he'll do something, he gets it done. He's very interested in our people, and he's got that same smile on his face all the time. And I'm a little envious of him because he stays in shape, and where I don't, he did, even though he's getting older too. You're getting up there at 25 years here.
I'm almost 40.
Almost 40. Okay. Norm, is there any particular program you're trying to get for the young ones this time?
Definitely. We have right now, and it's a very sad story, in our school we have 2 rooms, one in junior high, one in senior high. Those 2 rooms right now are full of computers. We have over 40 computers, 10 or 12 printers. And right now, our doors are locked.
They don't use them at all?
We do not use them. We do not have one computer course. Sometimes they're being used to assist another course. So you apply a program from, for example, in my advanced accounting course, I use them occasionally as an accounting application on a computer. But as far as teaching how to use a computer, right now we've lost all our courses through the cuts. And in this day and age, I don't think we have a right to even let our kids out of school without some knowledge of computers. So my first goal is to raise enough money to re-establish 2 keyboarding classes in the 8th grade for the 2nd semester. Those are 10-week courses, but you learn the keyboard so that when they reach high school next year, they'll be able to use the computers properly. And also to establish 1 computer literacy course for juniors and seniors this year, the 2nd semester. Peter Stone and myself, we've also been working on a program with the board to establish programs starting next year. So it would be the freshman class coming in, that in the 1996 class, we would have mandated that they have so much computer literacy and programming before they graduate.
So you're hoping that in 92, school year 92, 93, that the whole system gets back to financing the computer course. Now, so that people don't think you have any mercenary reason for doing this, will you gain 1 penny in your salary, or will Peter Stone because computers come back?
Absolutely not. I want to make my position pretty clear right now. I am really doing this, first, as a father of 2 kids. Second, I'm a taxpayer. I have a nice home here. I pay my fair share of taxes. And third, I have been teaching here and working with these kids for 25 years. And I want to help them out. I really enjoy working with the kids, and it's time that we get together and do something. And when I say we, now I mean everyone. And I'm going to try to programs involving the taxpayers. I've already talked to the leader of the Taxpayers Association group, and he's very, very supportive. When people know that this program is strictly for the kids, the teachers will not get 1 penny pay, salary, raise, or anything else. It has nothing to do with that. When I mentioned that I had stepped down from the president of the union, I've also, when I undertook this, even stepped out of the union. So I have no ties to anyone right now. So it's strictly, again, as a parent, as a taxpayer. I feel we have to get together, the community together, to rally around each other.